Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Mr. Piri, and on today's lesson, we are going to look at computer science or computer basics. So in this class of today, we'll discuss by starting with the definition, what a computer is, the types of the computers, the types of input and output devices, how does a computer works, and so forth and so on. So not to waste much of the time, this course is for those that are interested in knowing or how they can become as an IT technician or computer repair. For instance, if you have an interest in knowing on how to repair the computers as well as the printers, more especially when it comes to minor issues or minor problems, this course is best for you. So to begin with, I know some of you may be wondering like, okay, my main interest is to know how to fix a computer. So before we could go there, first need to understand the components of a computer. How does a computer work, and how does a computer associate with certain softwares? For instance, talk of an operating system. So if you don't know how to install a software in the computer, then you want to go direct to start working on the troubleshooting or repair the computer. It will be something that will be a bit difficult for you to understand because you need to understand the components of a computer. Let me say, in short, the basics of a computer. You need to know how the function of the mouse, the function of the keyboard, the function of the monitor, the function of the CPU, the function of the RAM, the function of the hard drive. All those components, when you put them together, they come up with a complete system of a computer. So it's more important or essential to know the basics before you could start working on the parts by parts of a computer. So let's proceed on today's lesson. So here is computer basics, troubleshooting, and ergonomics training and workshop. So here, as you can see, this is let me change the cursor, white color, not black. Okay, so this is a computer basics, troubleshooting, and ergonomics training and workshop. So for instance, or let me say, in this course we are going to discuss on computer basics, what a troubleshooting is, what ergonomics is. So for instance, when we talk of the troubleshooting is where a computer has a fault or a problem, maybe is failing to, you are trying to play a video or a film. Now you find that sometimes there's that notification that comes like unsupported format. So when you see such kind of information on the screen that can pop up, or maybe you find that you are trying to open a certain app, then the computer is saying this app is not supported to this vision. So definitely you know to say where the problem is coming from. So by finding out what could be the cause of that app not to open at that particular computer, or a video that is failing to open unsupported format. So by trying to find out what could be the root cause of the video not to play, so by finding out that, we call it a troubleshoot. So you start from the basics, where the problem is coming from, until you find what is causing the video not to play. Sometimes it can be maybe the video that has the virus, or maybe it was not complete downloaded, or maybe the video is complete downloaded. When you take it to another laptop or computer, you find that the video is working, is playing just okay, but when you take it back to that computer, you find that you are having the challenges. So after identifying that, or maybe the format is not the right format that you are using, or maybe the computer was missing the VCL. So after downloading the VCL, you find out that the video started working fine, or maybe the app that you are trying to install, it did not have the winner in the computer, but after installing the winner, you will be able now to extract the drivers or softwares that you want to use at that particular computer. So by finding out the solution and the root cause of that problem, we call it troubleshooting. So let's proceed. Okay, so here is just the introduction. Yes, so I have no special talent. I am only passionate, curious. Okay, so your curiosity leads you to your knowledge before you can derive knowledge from what you study. There must be a bridge between curiosity and knowledge, and the bridge is passion. Passion can do great work in the learning process. So in short, in everything that we do, we need to have a passion, a vision, and a plan. If you want to become an IT technician, you need to understand the field that you want to join. For instance, if you don't have a passion, it will be hard for you to understand the concept and how does the majority manage to do everything without finding any difficulties. So a passion, it helps or guide you where you are heading to, what you really want in that field, and why you are doing so. So by having those clear pictures in your mind, it will be easy for you even when you are studying, because you have a direction. You are not just somebody who is doing things without a proper direction. But if you have a direction, meaning you have a vision, you have a passion for what you do, meaning you love what you do. Okay, so let's proceed. So learning objectives. So at the end of this course, a learner learn the basics operation of a computer system. Learn the basic operation of a computer system. So meaning a learner should understand the basic operation of a computer system. Then an overview on the essential components of a computer system. Overview on the essential components of a computer system. Okay, so let me do this. Okay, in case I want to light, let me do this. Which color? And I choose. Okay, so wait a minute, it be ready. Okay, so we have already discussed this one. Oh, sorry, not discussing, I've already mentioned that one. So we are now looking at where it's saying learn to differentiate hardware versus software troubles. Okay, so learn to differentiate hardware versus software troubles. So you need to understand how does it differ between the hardwares and the softwares? So troubles is more, that is troubleshooting. So you should understand what is the software and what is a hardware. Okay. Then after that, a learner should describe the major components of a computer system. A learner should describe the major components of a computer system. What are the major components of the computer system? All these things as a learner should do understand. So for now, we are going to look at point number 4, where it says, how is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So number 4, we have already talked about it. We are going for number 5. So overview on what is operating system and application system. Okay. So overview on what is operating system and application system. So a learner should understand at the end of this course, should understand the overview on what is operating system and application system. Okay. Then overview on basic operating of UPS and the AVRS. Overview on basic operation of UPS and the AVRS. So you should know the difference between UPS and the AVRS. Then overview on basic operation of inkjet printers. Talking about the printers now, you need to have the basic knowledge of the printers. Then learn how to basically troubleshoot and fix the basic computer problems. So you need to know how to troubleshoot. Troubleshooting is finding a root cause to a certain problem and find a solution. Okay. In medical terms, we call it diagnosis. So when you give the diagnosis, it's finding the root cause of the problem and provide a solution. That's a troubleshooting means, is to find the fault or the cause of that problem. Then later on, you also provide a solution to it. Okay. Then the last one, where it says, let me try to zoom the screen. The last one, sorry, I can't see proper. Okay. The last one says, learn how to maintain a computer systems, or that is the second last. Learn how to maintain the computer systems. Then the last one says, overview of what is ergonomics. Okay. So these are the things that at the end of this course, a learner should at least have a full knowledge, or at least an understanding of what we have discussed, or of what we are going to discuss in this topic. Okay. So let's proceed. We'll start with what is a computer. What is a computer? So a computer has a lot of definitions, but here is one of the definitions. So a computer is a machine or device that accepts information or instructions, processes it electronically based on the instructions provided by software or programs, and obtain a meaningful results. And it has the capability to store or display the data output. I'll repeat. So a computer is a machine or device that accepts information or instructions, processes it electronically based on the instructions provided by software or programs, and obtain a meaningful results. And it has the capability to store or display the data output. Okay, so in short, a computer is an electronic device that process it's electronically based on the instructions provided by software or programs. So in short, the computers, it's a machine or a device that operates according to the instructions. For instance, if you put a certain software in the computer for burning CD or maybe factory format, your aim is to convert the video from a video to an audio. So the computer will do the exact thing that you want based on the instructions. So that is a software that we have used to give the meaningful results. So you're going to install the software, for instance, a software that you'd use to convert a video to an audio, or to convert an AVI video to MP4. So that software that you're going to use, by following the instructions, then the computer will process and give it a meaningful results. Talking of the programs, there are so many programs. For instance, operating system is a program. So when you install an operating system, that system, it is programmed to give you the access to start installing information and certain data inside of that system. So through the programs and the software, the computer would give the meaningful results. Without the software and programs, then a computer cannot operate normally, because a computer is the set of the programs and the softwares are the ones that come up with a computer system. So it is a system. It works electronically through instructions to process and give the meaningful information. A phone, it is a computer. A laptop is a computer. A tablet, it is a computer. So it's any machine, any electronic device that accepts and store data. It accepts the information and keeps it. Talking of the phone, it stores data, accepts the information, and also process it, a meaning of information. So it is a computer. A tablet is also the same thing. So something that accepts, process, and install data, that is a computer. I hope you are clear on this one. So on this picture you are seeing here, this is the new model of a computer system, and this one is the old model of a computer system. So talk of this one. Wait a minute. Oh, sorry. Wait a minute. Okay, all right. So this one, it uses operating system, that is OS Windows 10. But with this one, if I remember very well, it uses Windows XP. From Windows XP, we have Windows 7. The Windows 7, they upgrade to Windows 8. Windows 8, they upgrade to Windows 8.1. Then 8.1, we have Windows 10. Windows 10 so far. We have Windows 11. Windows 11, with time, they upgrade to Windows 12. Okay, don't worry about the Windows. You're going to understand these things once we now talking about the details of each and every function of a computer. Okay, so different types of personal computers system. Different types of personal computer systems. So we have desktop computer. It's a full tower or mid tower. So a desktop, it is a combination of a monitor, which is the screen, a keyboard, a mouse, CPU. That is the combination of a desktop. It's a combination of must have a monitor for displaying, it must have the CPU for processing data and information, it must have a keyboard for typing, it must have a mouse that we use for command and selecting in order to come up with the desktop system. Then a laptop, you know, a laptop, it's just a single device or machine that doesn't have the other extra parts. For instance, talking of the mouse, you don't need to use a mouse unless maybe the palm touch stopped working. That's when you can provide a mouse as well as the keyboard. But otherwise, on the laptop, independently or alone, it does everything, same as the desktop. Talking of the notebook also doesn't need the monitor, CPU, keyboard. Talking of the notebook, this is the netbook and notebook. It's one and the same. Tablet, iPad, MacBook, smartphones, all these, they work without the monitor, CPU, keyboard, and a mouse. Okay, but these are the examples or types of personal computers. So, in short, when you hear word PC, it stands for personal computers. So, PC is not generally mean the laptop, no. Laptop is one of the types of personal computers, but we are used to say PC. When talk of the PC, it means someone is talking about the laptop. But in a normal way, PC, it means a personal computer. A phone or a smartphone, it's a personal computer. A tablet is a personal computer. iPad is a personal computer. So anything that is portable and easy to carry, it stores, access, and process data. It is a personal computer. Okay, so we can proceed. So desktops, laptops, tablets, and even smartphones are all essentially PCs, that is personal computer. Like I was saying, okay, let me try to change here the mouse. Okay, so desktops, laptops, tablets, and even smartphones are all essentially personal computers. I hope you have understood here. We can proceed to the next page. But before we proceed, allow me to having a challenge to write. I don't know what's happening. Okay, now I can write. Okay, we can proceed. Okay, so basic operation. Let me zoom it. Okay, basic operations of a computer system. So on this chart we have input, processing, output. So we have an input here, processing, and output. Then storage and controlling. So here, input, it is the process of entering data and instructions into the computer system. Input, it is the process of entering data and instructions into the computer system. So by entering data into the computer, it can be either using the keyboard through typing or using the USB flash, getting the information from USB flash, that is universal serial bus, from the universal serial bus, and install it or saving it into the computer, that is an input. Okay, any information that you are saving in the computer from a certain device, it is an input. That's what it means. Then number 2. Why is it showing this one? I don't want this one. Okay, I want this one. Number 2, where it says processing, it is the process of performing arithmetic or logical operation on a data so that it can be converted into useful information. Okay, so that's what a processing means when you hear the word processing. So processing is it's a process that performs arithmetic or logic operation on data so that it can be converted into a useful information. How can I make you understand? For instance, those that the DJs or the producers, that they come up with the full beat or an instrument. So they start with those small components, they gather them, they put together. So all those small components, before they could give a meaning of results, we call it data. Okay? Then information is now where you can tell that, okay, this is the song, or this instrument is the instrument of such kind of a song. Maybe it's a song for Shakira, it's a song for Beyonce, it's a song for Jay-Z, it's a song for maybe let me say an Eminem. Yeah, so by just hearing an instrument, you'll be able to tell that this instrument is for a particular song. And the title of the song, you are even able to tell that maybe it's a song for Eminem featuring Lil Wayne, No Love, or maybe Rick Ross featuring Lil Wayne, John. So that is a meaning of information. But before that, it was a data whereby by just hearing a half part of it, you can't tell that this is the instrument of this particular song. Okay, or I can also give you an example whereby, for instance, the car, you only have the tires, the seats, and maybe the doors. So, since you know a complete vehicle, how it looks, by just looking at the tire, the doors, maybe the steering, you'll be able to tell that these are the parts of a vehicle or a car. But there are some other parts that are missing in order to come up with a complete car. So those parts that are there, we call them as data, because they have not yet produced a meaning of information. You cannot use a door alone, you cannot use a wheel alone, you cannot use a steering alone. You need all those parts, put them together and come up with a complete car. That's when you can say, okay, that one is a car. Door alone, you name it as a door of a car. Steering alone, you name it as a steering wheel of a car. But all those parts, once you put them together, you are going to say this is the car, because it has given you a meaning of results or information. So you should know the difference between data and the information. Data is just the pieces of an information before it's processed. Now after processing, it will come up with a complete system. Yeah, so that's what it means. So you need to understand the difference between data and information. Okay? Before information has been processed, it will be in the form of data. It's not yet giving you the meaning of information or results. But once it's giving the meaning of results, it is called the information. Data, it is the piece of certain information before it can become an information. When you hear different stories from different people, maybe someone is telling you, for instance, I can give an example. Say, okay, the government is planning to build a new football pitch. So that is just a data because it is not yet verified, it is not yet processed. Maybe to pass through the process of the bill, they vote for it, then they fund, they look for the contractors, the engineers, so that they can start the project. So by hearing those rumors, or let me say the data that we may be hearing from different people, before it is verified or confirmed to give a meaning of results, we just consider it as a data. It's a part of the information, but it's not yet complete. Not until it has passed in the budget, then the man has been released, the contractors, they are ready, all the materials, all the necessary materials are ready for that project. Then you can consider it now as a meaning of information. But for the start, it was just a data before it could process it. Okay? So let's proceed. Let's proceed, please. Let's proceed. What's this? Okay. So storing. Storing, it is the process of saving data and instructions in the computer system so that they are readily available for essential or intermediary. Sorry, it's supposed to be intermediary, but here it says intermediary. Okay, intermediary. So you should know the difference here. At first, it says input is the process of entering data and instructions into the computer system. That is entering. Then storing, it is the process of saving data and instructions in the computer system so that they are later available for initial or intermediary. So input is by entering an information, but storing is where now you install. You are not inputting, no. You are installing that information to be for future use, in short. For instance, when you get the songs from the computer or from the phone to a laptop or desktop, where you have put it is in the hard drive for future use. So it means you have installed that information inside it. When you get the songs, the videos, the films, maybe the files, all that information, once you install it, you put it in the computer, it means you have installed in the computer system for future use. Okay? Now, input, it's similar, but what differs is that you're now entering. For instance, when you press the keyboard, you connect the mouse, all those are input. But installing is where now you keep the information for future use. Okay? Let's proceed. Let's proceed, please. Let's proceed. So I'll repeat on this same point here. I'll repeat where it says, storing, it is the process of saving data and instructions in the computer system so that they are later available for essential or intermediary processing whenever required. So whenever you need that information, that's the purpose of storing the data into the computer. Okay, so let's proceed. Output. What is an output? So output, it is the process of producing useful information or results for the user, such as visual display on screen or a printed reports. So that's what an output is. It is the process of producing useful information or results for the user, such as visual display on screen or printed report. So an output, it is the meaning of information, anything that is meaningful. For instance, when you play a song, that is an output. You'll be able to hear, maybe it's an audio that maybe certain pastor or prophet was preaching. Then that information that is giving you, it is an output to you. Okay? When you are watching a film, that visual picture that is being displayed on the screen, those actions that you are seeing on the screen, it is an output to you. You printed out a report from a printer, or maybe an assignment, or anything from a soft copy to a hard copy. It is an output. That's what it means. Okay? So let's proceed, please. Then the last one is what we call controlling. So controlling, it is the process. Controlling, it is the process of directing the method and sequence in which all the other operations are performed in the computer system. Controlling, it is the process of directing the method and sequence in which all of the above operations are performed in the operating system. So that's what a controlling means. Everything that is being performed that we have mentioned here. Let me clean the screen. Okay. So everything here that we have mentioned, they are being now controlling or controlled. Okay? Direct the method or sequence in which all the above operation in the computer system. So that's what a controlling means. When you select maybe a file, you want to delete it, it means you are controlling it. When you back up that information from hard drive or maybe USB flash, I install it in that computer, that is controlling. You're the one who is controlling everything according to the instructions. So a computer, it bears the instructions that you command. If you say format this hard drive, definitely the computer will ask you, do you really want to format it? Then you say yes, you are going to delete permanently that data. If you want to save, you give you the information of where you can save, where you can cut, where you can paste. All that information that is coming is working according to the instructions from the user. Computer on its own, it can't format anything unless you are using AI. But under normal circumstances, everything that needs to be done in the computer, it needs to be commanded by the user. If I command on delete, command on save, I command on cut, I command on move or paste or copy, everything is being done by the user, is the one who is controlling the system. No wonder the computer, it bears the instructions by the users, not a computer on its own. Unless that computer has a problem of the virus, then it is going to alter the information that is inside it. Otherwise, if everything is okay, then computer cannot perform such kind of the miracles. Okay, so we can proceed, please. Here we are looking at the main area of the computer system. Main area of the computer system. Okay, so number one, we have input device. So input devices that are used with a computer to input data and instructions into the computer. That is the input devices. Okay? So for instance, what are the examples of the input devices? We have a keyboard, a mouse, a monitor. All these are the input devices. Then an output devices. So output devices, hardware device that converts information or data into a human perceptible form. Output device is a hardware device that converts information or data into a human perceptible form. Okay, so for instance, talking of the printer is an output. Talking about the touch screen is the both output and input. Talking about the speakers, it is an output. Okay, so we can proceed. Processor. A processor is a chip in the computer that is used to process and execute instructions. So processor, that is the main brain of the computer. So a CPU, central processing unit. Central processing unit, that is the brain of the computer. So processor, it processes, it's a chip in the computer. It's more like a chip, not small like, but it's a chip in the computer that is used to process and execute instructions. Like I've said earlier, that a computer, it bears the instructions by the users. Computer on its own, it cannot read anything or format anything or put another data or install another information from a certain system unless you are using the AI or you set it automatically. Otherwise, everything that needs to happen to the computer, you need to command it, to instruct it in order to work. So that's where a processor comes in. It's a chip in the computer that is used to process and execute instructions. Okay? So let's proceed. Storage. So storage, is where you can keep the information or data. Talk of the USB flash. USB flash, it is the storage. The memory card, it is the storage. The phone on its own has the internal storage. Hard drive, it is the storage. So these are the hardware devices which allows storing data or information. Okay? So anything that can store data or information, it is a storage. So here we have an example of hard drive. It's the storage on its own. Memory card is storage on its own. So a storage is a hardware device which allows storing data, information. I hope on this one I don't need to spend much time. Most of you are familiar with the storage. So memory. So on the memory we have the RAM, which stands for random access memory. There's RAM and ROM. So here we're talking about the RAM, random access memory. Then in ROM, there's only O here between R and M. There's O, read-only memory. So a RAM, temporary storage of programs that are running on the computer. This is sometimes called the RAM. Okay? That is random access memory. Okay? So RAM, temporary storage of programs that are running on the computer. So this one is different from the hard drive. Hard drive, most is the information that we install, like the softwares, operating systems, music, films, pics, Yes, but the RAM, the use of an operating system, the use of the programs is installed inside the RAMs, not in the hard drive. Yes, there's a certain space that will be required for an operating system to be installed in the computer, but in it to work nicely, it must be a RAM inside the computer in order to process or to run the programs on the computers. Okay, so we can proceed, please. Here we have what we call what's inside my computer. What's inside my computer? So here we're going to look at the things that are inside the computer. So a typical personal computer or PC system is modular by design. A typical personal computer system is modular by design. So number one, we have that is display. So display, that is the one we call as a monitor. Here, the another name is a monitor, number one. Then number two, here we have input device. What is an input device? It's something that is connected to the computer, like a mouse is an input device. So we have a keyboard here, it is an input device. Okay, then number three, we have pointing device. So a pointing device, where can we find it? On number three, that is the mouse. So number three here is the mouse, is the pointing device. Okay, yeah. So number four, optical drive. So where is the optical drive? This one. This is the optical drive, where you can that has a provision of putting the disk inside. Okay, then number six, before number six, supposed to go number five, that is a magnetic drive. Where is number five here? Number five, you're going to find it here. This is the magnetic drive. Okay, then we have number six, which is the motherboard. Where is the motherboard? This is the motherboard. So some of you that you are familiar with the computers, the desktops, the phones, though in the phone we call it the panel of the phone, but it's the motherboard. I don't really know the difference between the panel and the motherboard, but for those of you that you have that you had chance or you have chances to open the computer, not the computer that is working, something that stopped working, and you should also get the permission, more especially if it's not yours. You open it, what you're going to find below, where all the cables and the wires are connected, that is the motherboard. It is the heart of the computer. No wonder it's called the motherboard, because without the motherboard, any device, it cannot operate or work. So even the printers, they have the motherboard, the phones, they have the motherboard, the music systems, they have the motherboard, the TV, they have the motherboard, the computers, they have the motherboard. Okay, so this is the motherboard of the computer. Then we have CPU, number 7, which is central processing unit. So where is the central processing unit? The chip that we are talking about is this one. This is the very chip. Okay, that's the chip we are talking about. That process. Let me take you back here. Okay, let me take you back here. Where it says a processor is a chip. On number 3 here, a processor is a chip in the computer that is used to process and execute instructions. So this is the very thing on number 7 here. Okay, so we can proceed to memory. That is number 8. So memory, that is definitely the RAMs. Here is the RAMs here. Okay, that is the RAM memory, that is the random access memory. Okay, then we have number 9, which is expansion cards. Number 9, which is an expansion card. Others, they would call it a video card. Then number 10, we have a power supply. This one. Number 10, we have a power supply. Where is it? This one. That is the power supply of a computer. So a computer can receive about 240 volts, but there are some certain components in the computer that only need maybe 3 volts, 5 volts, 6 volts. So if all the 240 volts go direct to the computer, definitely the computer will be damaged. So in this case, a power supply is one that converts the power in the computer so that the small components that need the maybe less voltage can work without being damaged by a lot of power. Okay, so this is more like a converter. Okay, but for the laptops we have the power pack. So a power can come, then once it reaches the power pack where it's converted from 240 volts to a 19 volts, because most of the laptops they use 19 volts, others 19.5, others 20 volts, others 18, but most is 19.5 volts. So the power from the source will be entering the power pack going to the computer, that is 240 volts. But once it reaches the power pack, before it passes through there, it's converted from 240 to 19 volts per required. Okay, yeah, so you're going to understand these things once we go into the details of this information. Okay, so here those are things that we are talking about. The CPU, the chip that I was talking about is this one. This is the chip, this is the power supply, this is the disk. So this one is where it says optical drive, number 4. Optical drive is this one. Then these are the lamps. Okay, and here I can see these are the fans. I can see properly that one, and this is the operating system of Windows 10. Okay, so components of a desktop computer here. Okay, let's proceed. So we have central processing unit. Central processing unit is this one, the one I've mentioned. I'll mark it as 1. Okay, then motherboard, this is the very motherboard. I'll mark it as 2. Then we have a hard disk. This is the hard disk. I'll mark it as 3. Then we have a random access memory, RAM, the one I was talking about. These are the RAMs. I'll mark it as 4. Then we have a video card. So video card, where is it? Where is it? Here I can't see properly, but I believe is this one here. So I'll mark it as 5. Then we have power supply. I'll mark it as 6. This is the power supply. Then we have a monitor, the entire system. This one I'll mark it as number 7. So these are the components of a desktop computer. Components of the desktop computer. Okay, so pay attention to these things. What's inside my computer? So these are the very things that are inside of the computer. Then here they have exposed them outside. Where is the motherboard? Where is the CPU? Where is the processor? Where is the RAM? Where is the power supply? Where is the memory card? Where is the video card? Where is the disk? Okay, so let me try to clean the screen. So by just looking at them, since I already know them, I don't need to start reading this side. No need. I can just start. This is the processor. This one is the processor. This one is the motherboard. this one is the disk drive, this one is the power pack, this one is the fan, this one is the video card, this one is the RAM, this one is the monitor, okay, or the display. So we can proceed. Okay, so central processing unit, CPU. So central processing unit, CPU, the component in a digital computer system capable of executing a program, or sometimes they call it as the brain of the computer, like I said in the area. CPU is also stands for brain of the computer, because is the processor or that processes any information in the computer. So without the CPU, then you do not have a computer, because that's the brain of a computer. It's more like a human being. A human being without a brain. It's just the name that this is a human being, but that person cannot function, cannot think, cannot do anything without the brain. So the brain is the one that does everything in the human being body or in the machines. No wonder if someone is psychotic, someone is mentally ill, that is the problem from the brain. And once you have the problem to the brain, it means you are not performing or thinking properly, because one of the sensors to the brain, they have stopped functioning normally. No wonder these people that they take drugs, those that are drug addict, those that are drug abuse, where they target is the brain. When they smoke cigarette, what they want is to confuse the brain so that they can start thinking in a different way. Okay, from a normal thinking to an abnormal thinking. So it triggers the brain, because brain, it is the master of everything. Whatever we think or whatever we do, it starts from the brain. The brain is one that decides what is good and what is bad. From there, you'll be able to get all the answers that you need. So same as the computer, that is the brain of the computer. The same way we differ in thinking, our intelligences, there are those that have high IQ, the others they have low IQ. Same here, we have Kawai 3 and Kawai 7. So we have, this is Kawai 9, 9th generation. This one maybe could be maybe 5th generation, this is 7th generation, and this one is 9th generation. So this is the very thing in the box when you buy it. Okay, so Intel Core 3, that is smaller. Intel Core 7, that is bigger than 3. Intel Core 9, that is bigger than 7. So when you are purchasing the computers, these are the specs or properties that someone should look at. If someone tells you that it's a Core 3, just know that it is, at least, because there are some, they're just an Intel cellular. So it is a Core, it is okay compared to just an Intel. Okay, so from 3 we have 7, 7 we have 5, 5 we have 9, 9 we have 7. Okay, so you should consider these things when you are buying a computer. So you find that a Core 3, it is even less cheaper compared to a Core 7 or compared to a Core 5. Then a Core 7 is a bit expensive compared to a Core 3. Then a Core 9 is very expensive compared to a Core 7. Then a Core 10 is more expensive compared to a Core 9 computer or laptop. Take note of these. The things that you need to know when you're buying the computers is the size of the RAM, the very RAM. It must be somewhere 4 GB, going up 6 GB, 8 GB, 10 GB, 12 GB, 16. So the bigger the RAM, the fastest the computer. The bigger the RAM, the faster the computer. The smaller the RAM, the slower the computer. Okay, So applies to, because these things they work hand in hand. The processor is big, even the RAM it must be big. Okay, but don't take it as to a human being where you say, okay, the bigger the RAM, the bigger the processor. Then you start thinking like, what of the head of the human being? You find that someone who has a small head is more intelligent to someone who has a big head. That is the different scenario here when you compare to the computers. Okay, yeah. So these are the things that you should look at on buying the computers. Okay, so let's proceed. This is the CPU. Those that you don't know the CPU, that is the CPU. Okay, yeah. So the motherboard, this is the motherboard. Okay, so motherboard here provides the electrical and logical connections by which the other components of the system communicate. So a motherboard provides the electrical and logical connections by which the other components of the system communicate. So like I've said, all the connections that they come up with a complete system, they must come from the motherboard. Is where all the components meet or communicate from the motherboard. Yeah, I'll find the next video to show you the connection of the motherboard to those of you that you are not familiar with the motherboard. Okay, so form factors, we have 80, 80X, micro, 80X, BTX. So all the connections, they must pass through the motherboard. Every connection, it must come from the motherboard going to some other parts. Okay, yeah. So hard disk drive. So in the next lesson when we meet, we are going to discuss on hard drive disk or hard disk drive. Okay, so for now we are going to end here, and the next class we are going to talk about the hard disk drive, talk about ROM, that is random access memory. Then talk about not ROM, that ROM is read-only memory. Okay, then we'll talk about the power supply. Then we'll talk about the operating system. We have, like I've said, there's Windows XP, we have Windows 8, Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows 11. So these are things that we are going to discuss in the next lesson. Then hardware versus software. Hardware is something that you can see and touch. Software you can only see but you cannot touch. You should know the differences: application, operating systems, computer parts. Okay, then applications of the software. These are things that you're going to look at or discuss in the next class. So for now we are going to end here. Okay, going to end here. So thank you very much for joining us. Please don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel and leave a like. Yeah, thank you very much. We'll meet in the next class. And by the way, please don't forget to study the notes so that you become familiar with these components or parts of the computer. Okay, it also helps to understand further in the next class. Bye.